New York, September 11th, 2001. The images still burn like the fire.
As you walked up the street, it was dark. It was nighttime in the middle of the day. There were fire trucks on fire. There was engines on fire. There was police cars that were tossed around like they were potato chips.
That day, in 1 hour, the New York Fire Department lost more men than in the past 50 years. Hardest hit, the elite rescue companies. Every member on duty was lost.
I knew a large number of members were going to be dead. I knew that a large number of civilians were going to be dead. I just didn't think it was going to be all my guys.
But there's another story, still untold. A tale of life, not death. In the months before September 11th, we were invited to ride along with the men of Rescue 1 and 2, to follow them into action.
We have heavy fire condition on the top.
This is their story, a tale of brotherhood and remembrance, of the men who are all to their brethren, still riding. They're called the Firemen's Firemen, the rescue companies, the special forces of the New York Fire Department. Every fireman responds to alarms, but these men are different. Each is a veteran, each hand-picked. And when the worst emergencies come along, these guys get the call.
Sounds like a bad one. I'm going to go with 5819 4th Avenue.
In the months before 9/11, their story was just beginning.
Oh no, we'll be there in a few seconds.
On this winter morning, Rescue 2 responds to the call, 1075, working fire in progress. At the scene, a man reports his mother is still trapped upstairs.
Oh, baby. Anything going on up there? We can report a woman trapped.
Hey, Chief! What can I do for you? Phil, get to the top floor up here. We got a report of somebody trapped. Hook's up top.
Outside, the six-man team splits up.
We got heavy fire out there. Real two windows, guys. On a powerful.
Irons spring the door.
Johnny, you gotta give me one more shot, baby.
All right. I'm trying to hold control of the door.
The vent man gets a hole to air out the fumes. Top priority, find the woman in a building filling with smoke.
Everything's by feel. It's quick. You can usually find a body real fast.
10-4.
I'm gonna look in the hallway right below you.
But this time out, they can't find anyone. They'll have to attack the fire.
I hear fire.
No, there's always a curveball.
Bobby!
I got that shaft back here. It's free burning. We've got to get water in it.
It's in this. Anybody see fire? Right here.
For firefighters, a blaze is like a living, breathing creature.
Open up the sidewall, Tommy!
It can hide almost anywhere, behind a wall, inside a shaft.
I can see it.
But once it's tracked down, once it's brought into the open, the battle can begin. An engine company arrives with the hoses. And thousands of gallons of water soon does its work.
Visible fire, knockdown, primary, negative.
We got between the two buildings, and then it just went on its merry way and went out that back door.
For Captain Phil Ruvalo, third-generation firefighter, the company command of Rescue 2 may be an honor, but it's never easy.
It's a feather in my cap. It's the ultimate command to be here.
Good job.
We'll see you later.
As a leader in a team of leaders, it's the captain's job to take charge, even in the midst of confusion.
The deputy chief said the son, who was in the ambulance, said his mother was on the top floor.
You know, they think their relatives still in the building, but they're not. They've gotten themselves out, but they don't know that.
We tossed the place 3 times. She wasn't there.
Nobody got any boo-boos, so we're all going back to the quarters safe and sound.
The captain's right arm is his driver or chauffeur.
He inherited me. I was here before he got here. He chose to keep me.
$50 for digging out a basement all day.
We've become good friends. There are times we don't even have to exchange words.
I know you're hungry.
Started in 1915, the rescue companies were given the unique task of saving not just civilians, but brother firefighters too.
Lincoln, get his head.
Our most important job, our number one job, is to make sure that other firemen who might get in trouble get safely out of the building.
It shows time and time and again where there is a fireman hurt, we'll drop everything and go right to the fireman.
It was Ray Downey, one of the most decorated firemen in New York history, who turned the rescue units into the highly trained squads of today, the commandos of the New York Fire Department, responding whenever, wherever.
Plane crash, boat sinking.
All hell breaks loose.
I think you got acetylene below you, Billy.
Underwater, under a train, or on top of a skyscraper.
Get the line up there?
We get young guys, we get older guys. But one thing that they all have in common is heart and balls. Everything else we could teach you.
Across the river, in Manhattan, another rescue company is gearing up for work. In the heart of Midtown, an urgent call. 2 workers are dangling off a scaffold on the side of a skyscraper.
Rescue 1, 3rd and 5-5 on the way.
3rd and 5-5. Man hanging from scaffold.
314
He's 50 stories up!
Manhattan delivers a challenge unlike any other. Potholes and high-rises, and monster traffic jams. Paul Hasshagen has seen a lot in 19 years with the company.
I drive the truck, one of 4 chauffeurs, regular drivers. Cross downs always works.
Get off the road!
And I have the honor of driving the captain.
Hey guys! Yeah. You hear that? There's a guy out the window on the aerial ladder, maybe from a truck.
My grandfather was a firefighter. And when I was a youngster, I got a few model fire trucks, and one of them was a rescue truck. And I asked him what that truck did. He says they rescue firemen.
Let's help a little bit here.
And I kind of knew right then what I wanted to do.
It will not move either up or down. They all stop.
500 feet off the ground, the 2 men are held only by their safety lines. Today, Lieutenant Dennis Mojica will lead the action.
We need the freight elevator down to the lobby. Freight elevator.
They were hanging. They were able to lower them to the scaffold. The scaffold can't move up or down, so we got to get access to the scaffold to get them out. Roof.
The lieutenant sends one of his men to the roof to lower a radio down to the scaffold.
The 41st floor, the southwest corner of the building.
Just make sure they have 2 safety lines on these guys, and then tell them to hold off, don't do anything else.
At the windows where the scaffold is yet?
Can you hear me out there, guy?
Turn off.
What's your name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. All right, listen, we're taking out the glass now. We're waiting for them to clear the street, make sure nothing falls outside or out into the street below us. Once it's clear, they'll give you a little slack on the roof, and then we'll just guide you guys in. Everybody's okay? Nobody's got any kind of medical attention that they need taken care of?
No, just my pride.
Just your pride? We can help you with that.
They start the precarious task, removing a 200-pound pane of glass. But there's no time to
We'll be
waste.
taking out that corner window on the corner of 5, 5, and 3rd.
They don't have that much manpower right
The men on the roof have stabilized the scaffold for now, but Lieutenant Mojica is concerned it might slip again. Using a specially designed fine cutter saw, they slice away the rubber that holds the glass in place.
So we waited for the street to be cleared below, because if the glass should break and we're that high, numerous people could be injured if not killed. Rescue 1 to Division, we're ready to pull the window in if you give us the all clear.
Yeah, you can start taking it gently.
Okay.
For the rescuers, this is the moment of danger.
Nice and easy.
They're roped off because the change in air pressure could actually pull them right out the window.
Support the glass.
All right, I got you. Come on down.
Slack on the line.
Hold on, let me take it.
Got it, guys, got it. Right down.
I got it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Come on in, Jimmy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Why you like hanging out over there?
Rescue the rope. You're not good. Disregard. You got it. All right, Jimmy, come on now. You in.
The good jobs always seem simple afterwards.
You know what actually happened?
It was going down fine, and all of a sudden it just kicked into overdrive. I disconnected the electric. It kept on going. Pressed the stop, kept on going. We had the secondary, kept on going.
Get frequent flyer miles.
There was only 2 workers on the scaffolding at the time of the incident, and they're both refusing medical attention.
Yeah, just sore throat, that's all, from yelling.
Okay, I'll meet you guys downstairs. Gentlemen, take care, man.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
You couldn't fluster him.
All right, sorry for the mess.
Thank you very much.
All right, no problem.
Dennis was one of the most serious people I know. He took his leadership very, very seriously.
You never can tell. That's what makes it so exciting. It could be a quiet day, quiet night, or all hell can break loose, and you could be running around, for the rest of the day or the rest of the night.
For the men of the rescue companies, all hell would be breaking loose in a matter of months.
Down slow!
From broken bones to collapsed buildings, what sets the rescue companies apart is experience. They're encyclopedias of firefighting, and they need to be in a city that can throw almost anything at them.
Well, it's an amazing city, and any way anybody can get themselves stuck in something or stuck under something or fall into something or have something fall onto them, then they call us.
1084, we have a construction worker injured. He's being lowered by crane.
At a construction site, a worker has fallen onto a steel bar. Responding to the call, the man who sets the standard for Rescue 1, Company Commander Terry Hatton.
We got an abdomen injury, guys. Give me a occlusive dressing, right? Got it still in there? All right. O2, please, gentlemen. All right. O2. All right, John, keep your hands there. Give me your occlusive dressing here, guys. Let's watch for the puncture wound. All right? We're just gonna put this on to help you breathe, all right? To make you feel a little bit better, all right? All right, after we get the occlusive dressing on him, let's get him on the board and do a further assessment, all right?
Well, every captain I had the privilege of working with here was a fine fire officer and a great guy. But there was something special about Terry. The motivational level that he brought here.
He slid down plywood that broke and rebar punctured his abdomen. There's no impalement, all right? We have an occlusive dressing on it. He's conscious, and we're getting vitals on him now.
Not only was he the man for the job, but you could tell that it wasn't 40 hours a week with Terry. It was his life.
There's no WMF article before you came on the job about add-ons on roofs.
He was a scholar when it came to fires. He wanted to figure out everything he could about each individual fire and what we could do to prepare ourselves for anything that could happen.
Pop the glass.
From the Soho rooftops to the Chelsea warehouses, Hatton would drill his Rescue 1 members again and again.
Captain Hatton was FDNY 24/7. He was probably the most intense person I've ever met in my life.
Because if you stick your head in here and a fireball rolls up the stairs, you're going to get cooked. So if you do your leg or your tool, what do I got here? Okay, turtle up. Nobody's going to do this unless they turtle up.
Everything, every aspect of this job and what we do as rescue firefighters, he was well versed in. He knew everything about the tools. He knew a tremendous amount of information.
Look at your egress. Can you very easily get on the roof of this and be out of the game? Safe. 2. Here it is. Everybody go to 2. Everybody go to exposure 2.
1 east, 1 8 power.
And when the guy's going the wrong way, grab him. Say, you're going the wrong way. This is the way off the roof. And we're the last guys off the roof.
And this way you can confirm that everybody's off.
Because somebody's going to ask you, is everybody off the roof?
Yeah.
He was a cosmopolitan kind of guy. He knew all about Manhattan. And I had been driving Rescue 1 for quite a long time. And I had been in the company, I guess, 16 years or so before he got here. And I thought I knew the city pretty well. And we'd take off and he would tell me back routes to take that I never would have thought of. He read the New York Times in the financial areas, not for what the stocks were doing, but what the financial aspects of the city was doing to the building construction. He studied every facet of the city as it related to firefighting, and I don't think he missed a trick.
Stay down. Stay down.
He told me once, anytime we go to an operation, you treat whoever's involved, trapped, injured, dying, dead, like they're your family. And that's the way we operate.
Victims need compassion, but a fire demands something else.
We have heavy fire condition on the top floor.
So fire seems to be extending, getting away.
In a job where each day brings new risks, firefighters prize what they call being aggressive. In the Flatbush section of Brooklyn, a 5-alarm fire is blazing. A van parked between 2 houses has ignited. The flames have spread to both homes. And once again,
Make the move.
Rescue 2 steps into the inferno.
An easy way to describe it, close your eyes, turn the oven on to about 500 degrees, wait till it warms up, and then open the oven. The blast of heat that you feel is really our work environment.
Everything up there is plywood. This entire attic is plywood. We gotta find a stand going up to the attic.
You're in unfamiliar territory. You really don't know what you're in because it's not your house, it's not your apartment. You might be getting somebody trapped in the rear, and you got to get to the rear. But it's sort of like going into a maze because, you know, where is the rear?
You get tunnel vision. Things start narrowing in.
Is that you, Mark?
You're just concentrating. Everything is narrowed down to what's going on between your 2 hands.
We're making no headway here whatsoever.
An unchecked fire doubles in intensity every 30 seconds until there's nothing left to burn. In a wood frame building, that doesn't leave much time.
You know, you try to stay calm and use your head and use your instincts. Your heart's pumping and your mind's racing.
Mark, is there a floor in the shaft?
And the adrenaline's going on top of everything else. Your back might have been hurting 20 minutes before, but right now, you can lift 400 pounds.
Go to the rear, all right? It is really hot.
How hot is it? Is it getting hotter? You know, that's telling you something. You're hearing crackling, okay? You know, it's over here, as opposed to hearing, you know, a roaring sound like a train coming. Uh-oh.
Once a fire reaches the top of the house, it can jump to the adjoining buildings and engulf the whole block. The rescue team never talks about fear or courage. They just talk about things getting warm.
I think most firefighters don't like the word scary, but yeah, it's scary as hell.
Hey, we got fire right behind me. To the rear back here.
With the plywood attic burning out of control, the men are pinned down in the hallway below.
Guys, pump up some light. Put it out. Hey, is that your hook? Yeah. Hey, Mark. Mark.
If I'm on the fire floor, there's another guy there. I know he's there. He might not be next to me. He's not holding my hand. He's doing his job also. But in this company, you're never alone.
All right, 10 feet will do. It's like you and the backup man. Everybody else off the stairs, okay? Make sure you let him know now. It's just you and the backup man.
Up the stairs in the attic, the fire has just gotten much worse.
Who's that right there? Stand it up.
Rescue! Every fireman faces a moment of danger. For Kevin O'Rourke, it's about to come here.
Need a hand on top floor, Chief?
Even though you couldn't see him, you can picture the smile on his face from ear to ear. He'd be bouncing around in there like a little kid, you know, and like I said, he'd bump into somebody. Oh, excuse me, you know, pardon me.
Excuse me, Chief. Thank you. Got it, guys.
You know, it's not the way it's always verbalized inside a burning building.
Kevin notices the floor is beginning to give way.
A lot of holes here, brother.
Just as he warns the others, he falls through.
Second to the first floor,
He dangles above the fire. Fortunately, his brothers are there to lift him out.
Kevin, you all right? Thank you. Elmo, okay, thank you.
For the men of the rescue companies, there is a fine line between bravery and survival. The trickiest question is always when to leave.
It's hard to tell a fireman it's time to go. It means that you quit, you gave up, and you don't want to.
It's your responsibility to make sure, as a captain, that they're not risking their lives for naught.
But this time out, Captain Ruvolo will take that risk. He decides it's not quite time to go.
Hey, bring the line in now! One, two, keep the line. Right over here, to the left.
Rescue 2 makes one last push, breaking through into the attic to confront the blaze.
Good job, son, good job.
The top of the house is burned down to the timbers when the water finally does its job. It's taken hours, but they've saved the block, and Kevin too.
You all right? Yeah. You sure? You sure? Yeah. Oh, a big fucking hole. Oh, you're not kidding. It just kept crumbling around me.
No, I'd never say you really talk about the fear. You joke about the fear. You joke about what you do. You joke about, duck that one this time.
It was interesting. The floor gave way on the second floor. I ended up stepping into the hole, and it just kept getting bigger. I ended up spread eagle, holding onto the beams, until the brothers were kind enough to pull me over onto the solid floor. Now I knew. I said, as long as I swing down, I'm only going to be like 4 or 5 feet off the floor, to drop down if I had to. Right. Well, luckily I didn't have to.
At the end of the day, when the work is done, the men come back to the firehouse. Here, on 24-hour shifts away from home, that's where a job becomes a family.
You all de-stressed now? You're starting to wind down?
I had a great day.
You good?
We live like 1/3 of our lives in a firehouse together. Sometimes I think I spend more time with the guys than I do with my wife and at home.
Hold it! Shut it down!
If you have a personal problem, guys will help you out. If you have something done in your house, guys will help you out. And that's what I love about the job. The guys make the job.
This place is a pigsty! Look at all this dirt!
You get the Yankee calendar I left in your box, Bob?
Yes, I did, my brother. And to fight Driscoll off for you.
The good son. Oh, the good son is back. Two.
Everything goes through the kitchen. You come in the morning, you have to get a cup of coffee, you got to go in the kitchen. You come in the afternoon, you have to find out what was going on that day, got to go in the kitchen.
We could have easily put it on a grip hoist.
All the ball breaking goes on in the kitchen.
Why is the good son the good son? All right, without me saying a word. When you sit down in the kitchen, you're up for grabs. It doesn't matter if you're the new kid or the senior man. It's a great equalizer. That does it the third.
It's where justice gets meted out.
Strike 3!
It's the center of the firehouse universe.
We talk about the jobs that scare the crap out of you.
7 stories on one
How much fire was behind you? How much fire was in front of you?
Where's the basement? I think I'm going into the basement. No, you're on the first floor.
Maybe I could have pressed a little bit further on that one.
This was an interesting
Maybe I should have
job,
held back a little bit more on that.
On the hill.
It's how the young kids hone their craft. They listen to them. Everybody else talking.
Right there, about 8 to 10 seconds. I think the doors stay open before they close.
Fire's in the lobby.
It's not in the books. It's not in the books. Come on, you can't ask that. I'm just saying.
Everything is held in tremendous irreverence to the delight of all.
Everybody stay up top. HVAC system's on. Stay safe. Why?
So you're down in the dumps, come in the kitchen and get hammered for a while by guys you really love, and then you understand. And then it's, you know, everything's all right. There's some things we see in life that normal people should never see. The one place I always want to be after that is in the kitchen. The kitchen's a great place to forget what's really haunting you.
You are a brother to each other. It's proved to you on a daily basis, and you prove it to the other guys on a daily basis, that I can be trusted with your life, and I trust mine to you.
These guys are going to die for me if they have to. They're going one way or another, they're coming for me.
We don't always like each other, but there is a love there, and it's always going to be there. I mean, if you're willing to risk your life for another man, you better love him a little bit.
At 8:48 a.m. on September 11th, 2001, an alarm was sounded for Box 8087, the World Trade Center. 11 men responded from Rescue 1, 7 from Rescue 2, and what they saw was unreal.
From our quarters, if you look, you used to be able to see the towers. I'm sure as the door went up and they pulled out of quarters, they got a good look. You know, they had a good idea of the conditions there at that time, the first building that was hit.
They had extra guys riding that morning. Unfortunately, the job came in at the change of tours. So not only do we have the night tour, but we had the day tour as well.
Realizing the significance of the alarm, I think everybody that was in the firehouse just ran and jumped on the truck. You got a full truckload of people racing down to that site because all firefighters wait for the big one, and that was one of the big ones, not realizing what was going to happen later, but the significance of the amount of people that were trapped and what you could do to try to save them. You just go. You go because you know you're supposed to go, and you know that that's what you know how to do.
This was the Super Bowl fire. This is the big one. They responded through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. They were able to get out of the tunnel, pull up onto West Street, and when they made that turn, you know, they saw the tower burning the way it was. One of the commissioners who was responding in through the tunnel walked up with them to the building. She's told us that the guys were, you know, joking around, you know, laughing, giggling. Even though you might be busting each other's chops, the seriousness of the situation was obviously in every guy's mind. And they hit the stairs and they just started going up. You know, they were bent on getting to that fire floor.
I knew they had a real good fire, and I thought that that's all it was going to be. Just a real good fire, and one of those things that they were going to talk about, you know, for years to come. Well, I was at the big one, the World Trade Center, when the plane hit. As I watched and the second plane hit, I realized this was an act of terrorism, and I took off. As I think just about every other fireman in the city did.
I saw across the bottom of the screen, it said breaking news in big, thick, black, billowing smoke, and it said Lower Manhattan. I said, oh, look at that, the brothers got a good job. And then it panned out, and I saw the World Trade Center. I got probably one of the sickest feelings I've ever got in my life. I saw the amount of fire and what was going on, and I just said to myself, oh my God.
Inside the towers, the rescue teams were heading up to pump water on the fire.
They were going to be on a fire floor. They had been there for quite a significant amount of time already. So it would have been a hard climb, but they would have made it. They'd be on the fire floor fighting fire. And I was trying to judge from my position how many floors of fire that they were faced with. And I was just shaking my head at the enormity of the whole thing.
There were upwards of 35,000 people in those buildings when the first plane hit. They were heading up, you know, to make sure that fire went out. We have to go in there. We have to get those people out. We're firemen. Can't stand outside and say, wow, that looks really bad.
I say it with nothing but pride in my voice. I mean, I know where they were going. And everybody here knows where they were going. And So I only can say, when is it time to leave? It just isn't for us. As long as there's a fireman in that building, we're not leaving. It's the rescue's mission, and we're gonna live it. I mean, and that's at any cost. And unfortunately, you know, it was the greatest cost that time.
Back at the firehouses, the off-duty men from Rescue 1 and 2 began pouring in.
Bobby Gallion was here first, then me, and guys just started coming. And we understood the magnitude of what was going on.
We were well aware that one building had already come down.
Human nature is that you're gonna turn around and you're getting out of that building, man. The other building's down. It's just a matter of time for you. When yours is coming down, you already know the other building's down. It's not a secret. They never turned around. And if you're ever gonna get scared, yeah, you know what? That's total fear right there. But you also know that you signed on for this deal, you know what I mean? There's firemen in trouble, and you're going. And you hope for the best, but you keep climbing.
Chief Downey was there from Special Operations. I remember saying to Chief, I know you're really busy, but we're here, we got 3 guys from Rescue 1 here, if there's anything we can do for you immediately. And he just shook his head and he says, right now we think we're missing about 200 guys. So I want you to stand on that corner right there, and as soon as I can use him, I'm gonna put you to work.
He just walked off into the cloud. You know, it was very calm, cool and collected as he always was. None of us have ever been to an operation like this, but he went off. He said he would come back for us, and he never came back.
Those chiefs, they didn't leave. They had men in the building, and they wouldn't leave without him. And they had time to get out, but they wouldn't leave their men.
The rest of the off-duty men hurried to the World Trade Center any way they could.
We were able to commandeer a city bus that happened to be riding down the block. The bus driver was good enough to ask the other passengers on the bus to get off, and she got us to within a block and a half of the Trade Center.
And on the way, the building collapsed.
Everybody wanted to come in, including a retired member. And we raced in here. The car that we were using, luckily had to use jumper cables to get it started. And then we got out to West Street and flew down there. And we were 2 blocks away running towards the building when it fell. If the car would have started right away, there'd be 5 more guys from Rescue 1 buried down there.
As you walked up the street, it was dark. It was nighttime in the middle of the day. There was dust, there was smoke. It was difficult to breathe 2 blocks away. And as you worked your way towards West Street, it was out of the movies. This was a movie set. This couldn't be for real. There were fire trucks on fire. There was engines on fire. There was police cars that were tossed around like they were potato chips. There was ambulances that were crushed. The private cars flattened like pancakes. And this is just still 2 blocks out. And just buildings on fire all over the place. It just, there's nothing that you've ever done in your life that could prepare you for what you saw when you turned the corner and actually got a look at what was there or what wasn't there.
I had hooked up with Captain Ruvalo and members of Rescue 2, and we tried for, I'd say, close to an hour to find different ways to get to where we thought they might be.
There were voids that we looked, and before we went in, we may have said like a quick silent prayer, like, God, this doesn't look good. Let me get out of there. Give me the strength.
We're all moving in different directions, trying to find the good void, where the guys were, who was trapped.
Quite a few has found a void by the hotel. And when we went into this void, we found a helmet, we found a handy talkie, a hook, and the hook looked like a Rescue 2 hook. And then I heard Captain Ruvolo on the radio, and I said, Cap, are all our guys accounted for? And there was a long pause, and just a no.
After September 11th, the lives were counted. In all, firefighters helped save some 30,000 civilians, but 343 of their own men were lost.
You were at the mercy of the group chart that day. Anything can happen on any given day.
I think the guys that were lost were heroes, but they were heroes before that. They're heroes because of what they did when they lived. They weren't heroes because of the World Trade Center. They were heroes because they stood in front of the mayor and put their right hand up and said they'd be a firefighter.
I lost 23 years worth of best friends. Guys I was at their wedding with, guys I broke in with, guys I shared laughs with in the back room. John is probably my first probie, so to speak, coming into the rescue. Someone that I took a personal interest in training, and I was very tough on him, and he consistently rose to the occasion.
Let's say we go home, John.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
John had no flaws. That's why he was the good son.
The good son. Oh, the good son is back.
He would have been my choice to replace me.
John, Lincoln, two new guys in the company, proved themselves. Many times probably they proved themselves.
He was great. I mean, Lincoln was. He came out of a great company. Like our time for it, he was a ghetto fireman his whole career. He was a very comfortable fireman. He had no problem with any scenario we faced. He was great at it. I'll go anywhere with him, not a problem. And usually he's in front of me.
Lincoln be laughing right now, standing around in his shorts and his mock turtleneck t-shirt that he wore all the time, making some crude comment about something, smoking a cigar, and he'd be laughing and saying, got to keep doing what we're doing. They're always with us. They're always with us. They're right over our shoulder watching us every time we go out the door.
On the way down. That's it.
Everyone here will tell you he's not a hero. Everyone here will tell you he's doing his job, as they would tell you if you asked them. Kevin and I were friends for about 12 years. We had worked together in Squad 1. We have a fire one day. As we go up the stairs, the engine company is rolling down the stairs. The ceilings collapsed. The engine company officer looks up and he says, "One of my men is upstairs." We start to go up. I got on the radio. Kevin had the roof. I said, "Kevin, I need a hole." Kevin knew that the life of a fireman was dependent on getting a hole. He put on his mask, walked into the fire, got us a hole. And in the process, his light melted off of him. His face piece started to melt to his face. His coat burnt to a crisp. And he never once stopped until the hole was there.
in our estimation, if Kevin didn't get that roof opened up when he did, that nozzle team and the guy on the nozzle probably would have died. So he, directly saved that guy's life. And, never once did Kevin mention that.
He's a tough guy. Very aggressive, very knowledgeable, very good at what he did.
You cannot replace those 7 men in this company, the 343 altogether. They cannot be replaced. They will not be replaced. They'll always be remembered. You replace a broken window. You don't replace a man.
Ray Downey. If Ray walked into a room, or an emergency, or a fire, he was in command without saying a word. 40 years of experience, a demeanor that made you watch him.
When God speaks, you listen. He was called God. Never to his face, always behind his back. But I'm sure he was aware of it. And he'd probably chuckle and then continue doing what it is he does.
Okay, I'll meet you guys downstairs. Gentlemen, take care, man.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate it. Dennis was a real good friend. He was an easy man to talk to. We often had very lengthy conversations about things not even related to the job, about our private lives. And I miss not being able to talk to him anymore.
Because somebody's going to ask you, is everybody off the roof? Yeah. All right?
Captain Hatton will always be, in some regard, the captain of Rescue 1 for all of us that had the privilege of working with him. But there's no doubt in my mind that the members that were fortunate enough to work with him will maintain that intensity, that level of dedication, and pass that to the new generation.
I would like to have seen Terry have more time to get a few more things in place. He certainly had a large vision of what he wanted, and he had made a life's work of studying this. He got a lot done in the short time he was with us, and he affected us all. And it's tough, it really is tough. But Terry'd be the first one to say, we gotta go on. We can't sit around crying about this. You cry on your off hours, go to work, we got stuff to do. People count on us. There's a lot of people out there, and they count on us to come take care of their problems.
In the aftermath of the tragedy, the firefighters tried to make sense of what had happened, to reclaim their dead and start again.
We got a phone call on the rig that they had uncovered one of our masks and that they were digging further, but maybe we should get down there. So we shot in, and I was parking the rig. The guys took off. By the time I got up there, they had already uncovered Lincoln, put him in a Stokes basket, and they had him covered with a flag. And we carried him out. We went back in, and in the same area, we were fortunate that we were able to find Kevin. Took a while to free him up. Same thing, got him into a Stokes, covered him with a flag. Minister, priest, I'm not sure which it was, but it was a man of the cloth, gave a blessing, and we were able to bring them home.
My father put in 33 years. And every time he sees me, he tells me he's proud of me. And when are you gonna retire? I would be lying if I said I didn't contemplate it. I think everyone that was there contemplates it. I know that this takes a tremendous toll on my family and every family. I tell them I'm good at what I do. I tell them that I make a difference. And they understand.
This is still the best job on earth. It's a noble profession. It's a noble job, noble calling, whatever you want to call it. And if I had sons, there's nothing wrong with being a fireman.
May have a pretty good contingency in heaven right now, but it's still the greatest job on earth for sure. There's some good times that are gone.
It's a big void, man. It really is. It's big emptiness.
That first couple weeks, there was a lot of times when you got back here to the firehouse, you really wanted to contemplate why you were doing what we were doing, you know? Why did I choose to do this? And then you sit down and read 5 or 10 cards from some first graders, you know, with all the great misspelled words, but you get the drift of what they were trying to tell you. Or all the pictures, all the thoughts.
There's still the little boy in each guy here, even though we've been through this great tragedy. And you find yourself telling a little joke, laughing a little. It's starting to come back. The healing process is probably already started.
On the riding list on the chart, we have who's, so we know who's on duty. It says still riding because we have members of this company we haven't found yet. And as far as we're concerned, they're still responding.
Still riding is a show of respect to the guys that their spirits are still and will always continue to ride with us every time we go out the door.
But I think what keeps us going is the fact there's still fires, there's still emergencies, there's still a lot of people out there need help.
Rescue Company 2. And so, each day, they head out again. The men of Rescue 1 and 2, still riding.
Box 3574, box 3574 for 1033 code 1.